So we've converted from decimals to fractions, and now we need to convert from fractions to decimals. And similarly to when we did decimals to fractions and we need to know the place value, we need to know the same thing about fractions. We need to know what that denominator is. So anytime you have an improper fraction, remember an improper fraction is one where the numerator is bigger than the denominator, like that example right here. You need to change it into a mixed number. It doesn't always happen, but whenever it does, I want you to make sure you change that into a mixed number. Once you've changed your improper fractions, then you're going to look at the fraction portion of your mixed number or any fraction that you have. Just look at the fraction and look at that denominator and see what the denominator is. If it has a denominator of 10, 100, or 1,000, then makes your job a lot easier. If not, we can always make an equivalent fraction with a 10, 100, or 1,000 as the denominator. Once we've done that, we can name the place value of that denominator, just like we did with decimal values. And then we are going to write the whole number if we have one. Remember, that's only if we have mixed numbers that you will have a whole number. And then you can write that fraction part as a decimal. So it's kind of reverse of what we just did. So let's try it out on our example. We have 27 hundredths. Notice how I said that, 27 hundredths. I look at that denominator and I see that it is 100. So I know that I can write that decimal just like I said it as 27 hundredths. You always want the last digit of your numerator to fall into whatever place value is in the denominator. So now let's try converting 3/25 to a decimal. It's not an improper fraction, so we're just going to make it into an equivalent fraction. I have 3/25. What can I multiply 25 by to make it equal 100? I can multiply this by 4, and that's given me my 100, so I'll have to multiply by 4 by the numerator to get 12 hundredths. Notice how I said that, 12 hundredths. So I can write that 12, and I want that decimal value, that last number, to fall in the hundredths place. That is 12 hundredths. It takes a little bit of practice, but that's what we're going to do in class. So let's look at an improper fraction. We have 13/5. First thing we need to do is change that into a mixed number. Remember, fractions mean the numerator divided by the denominator, but it's hard to remember how we set that up as a long division problem. So I want you to look at this phrase right there, top dog in the house. That's a nice word phrase that helps you remember how to do long division. If you can remember top dog in the house, you'll remember how to set it up correctly. Top dog in the house means the numerator is the top dog. It's the number on top, so it's the top dog. And that is going to go in the house. So when I look over here at 13/5, 13 is my top dog. I'm going to put him in the house. So the 5 will go here. So how many times does 5 go into 13? 2 times. And I have 3 remainder, so that becomes 2 3/5. So now I've created my mixed number, and now I need to write that as a decimal. So I write my whole number, and then I look at that fraction, and can I make that fraction into an equivalent fraction of tenths, hundredths, or thousand? Well, sure, I can multiply it by 2 for my denominator, and I get tenths. And I multiply the numerator by 2, and I get 6. So I have 2 6/10. Now I can write that as a decimal, of 2 and 6 tenths.